going all in. He likes it. Will Gordon Cole, he'll be in a terrible spot here with the sixes.
Much more.
Simon must be loving this. He knows that if one of these guys takes the other on, he's virtually guaranteed to be in the top two with a shot at winning through to the final. He was willing Gordon to call.
Call.
And he has made the call.
Well, you're in the final two anyway.
Well, we've seen a situation like this earlier. Do you remember when Alison went out and she had the 10s and Hung had the queens? This time, Hung has the overpair. He has the jacks, Gordon has the sixes.
800. So you can take 200 back.
Wow, I still live.
Which means Gordon is all in. And
I
another
can take
100.
200 back.
Thank you. Okay, so Gordon is all in. His
Won't
hand
last
is a
long
pair
though
of
if I lose.
sixes. Hung's hand is a pair of jacks. Let's see the flop. And the flop comes 9-5 king. So the jacks in front. Gordon needs to improve. Turn card is an 8.
Now he's got an extra 4 outs.
Or a 7. And the last card is a 3. No help for Gordon. Our next player up.
Good game. Good game.
Well, what a gentleman there, Jesse.
He sure is all class. The civil servant from County Armagh, who played one of the games of his life for sure, but we're head up.
Oh, it was a fabulous experience sitting there and having Marina and Thomas on the floor and stuff like that. And I think I done myself justice. I thought I played quite well. I just made a bad decision in the last hand. So I think Hung will probably go on to win. He was catching cards and he's a very aggressive player and he's very hard to read. I honestly didn't put him on a pocket pair there at the last, so he played well.
200.
Head to head, only 2 left. It's the scientist versus the analyst and Simon Trumper. It all seems like it's been a prelude to this. These two have been building up to this moment all game long.
Oh, absolutely, Jesse. I mean, Hung, who was our early chip leader and dominated the table, at one point in the middle, he looked like, he was going to lose his momentum.
Check.
But he found some hands at the right time, and he is now big chip leader, heads up. He's got 7,700.
It's been a free flop. There was a limp in on the button, and Hung Luke has now flopped 3 jacks.
Check.
If Simon gets fruity, he's going to find a bag full.
2,000. Pass.
All over in head-up play, of course. The small blind on the button acts first. Hung Luke taking this first one. And Simon, it's almost like in the early part of this tournament, Hung had the measure. But for the last few rounds, Simon has fought back and taken quite a few chips away from Hung.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's face it, Simon came, at one point he was down to 800 in chips. He made a great play all in, survived, doubled up. Then he stole the blinds relentlessly. And now heads up, I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that he's going to be prepared to be aggressive and go for that early double up, try and take Hung Luke on at his own game.
It's 200 to call for Hung Luke on the button.
600.
And this late night poker ace tournament.
800. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're looking for the top British amateur, but neither of these
Right.
two is playing like an amateur tonight.
Thank you.
Well, here's an interesting situation here. Unfortunately for Simon, he made a mistake. He obviously intended to raise double, but he only said 600. Now they've made him make it up to 800. There's no way that Simon is going to realise that Hung Luke is sitting there with such a huge hand.
Ace-king was huge before the flop, but now look, Simon looking quite strong.
Check.
Up and down straight draw.
That's the rule again, isn't it? Sorry.
Looks
mate.
like
And that's the
1,000.
second time he's made a string bet. He tried to put in 2,000, has bet a grand.
And Simon with the straight draw might decide to move here.
I'm all in.
Yes,
He
he
is!
has.
And how can
Gordon
Hung Luke
will
call?
So Simon is all in. The board is 9, 8,
He is
6.
calling.
Simon shows queen
He is
7.
calling.
His queen
And he's
high,
got the
open-ended
lead.
straight. He needs a 5 or a 10. And Hung has ace.
Wow,
king of
this is
diamonds.
unbelievable, Jesse.
Let's see the turn. The deuce of hearts.
A 5, a 10, a 7, a queen.
Simon
That's not one of
needs a
them.
5
One card to come.
or a
Simon's
10
all
or a
in.
7
This has
or
been
a
a
queen.
crazy hand so far. 4.
4.
One
No
away,
help
it's
for him.
over.
We have a winner. Hung is in the
Hung
final.
Luke has
Simon
won
in the
this
semifinal.
tournament on ace high.
Well done. See you again for the
Simon
semi.
Jones from Watford, he'll be back for the semi-final, but Hung Luke dominated. The
cameras and everything don't really matter because all you're focusing on, well, for me anyway, I was just focusing on the other players and the cards. So it was just like sitting in a game.
I felt really good. I felt comfortable. I really enjoyed it. I think I made a couple of good folds. Also managed to steal a few pots because I was relatively short stacked at the beginning. I managed to build my stack up with a few bluffs. Caught a couple of hands, didn't get as much action as I hoped, but generally I'm very happy.
The heads went very quickly, just 2 hands I believe. I can't remember too much of it. All I remember seeing in the second hand was an ace, king, suited. I was like, that's it, I've got to go all in on this. I don't care what he's got, I'm doing it off either the first flop or before the flop.
I had open-ended straight draws, had 8 outs, and I also had the queen or the 7 to hit. So I actually had 14 outs. Unfortunately didn't hit, and that's that.
I probably will not do any preparations for the final at all. I'll go out and drink and then come back and test my luck again. Yeah.
In the semi-finals, I think the only way to approach it is to be ultra aggressive. There's nothing to finish in second in the semi-finals. You have to win. So I'm going to play aggressive, hopefully get the cards, and hopefully can make it through to the final.
So Hung Luke joins the other 3 heat winners on the grand final table. Simon Jones will take his chances in the semi-final. I'm Jesse May, and for Simon Trumper and myself, until next time, cash me in.